my name is Julius Arscott. I am the Labour Forward candidate sponsored by the Workers' Action Movement for President of the Canadian Labour Congress. Workers want a union movement which is engaged in the class struggle, a movement which does not shy away from defending the interests of our class around the world, a movement which will take a leading role in fighting the pandemic and eco-catastrophe head-on. We see this in the Wildcat Hospital support workers strike by AUPE members in Alberta, in the lockout of Molson workers, members of Canadian Union of Brewery and General Workers Local 325, who rejected the boss's concessionary demands. Workers of color continue to fight systemic racism in the workplace and in our unions without the support of union leadership. In fact, millions of workers hit the streets in support of Black Lives Matter. The CLC must unequivocally support the call for defunding, disarming, dismantling, and the abolishing of the police. Workers support land back initiatives in support of Indigenous peoples. We want to fight for a better world. The unionization rate increased over the period of the pandemic, with efforts being made to unionize the precariat or precarious workers who are not represented by unions. Companies like Amazon are in the crosshairs. Workers across the country are in the front lines fighting COVID-19 with inadequate support from our labor movement. The vaccination delays, the lack of personal protective equipment and paid sick leave, and the overall priority of profits over human needs, with the spotlight on the most precarious and vulnerable workers keeping the economy moving, have all shown the need for a dramatic change in labor union priorities and leadership. Workers want to fight against concessions, against 2 and 3 tier. We see how difficult it is to live in a society with a high cost of living while our union leadership continues to sell us on settling for less. There's no doubt that there's an appetite for serious change in our labor movement. What's lacking is leadership. The Workers' Action Movement strives to help build that leadership to change our labor movement for a better world. A common phrase we are now hearing is that after the pandemic, we must build back better. Much of the problems that we face as a society are as a result of the conditions working people have faced for decades. It is not realistic to assume anything will change as a result of the status quo leadership. Change does not happen automatically, like a gift from the boss. We know it comes through working class struggle. It always has. And the misleadership of our movement has proven itself unwilling to mobilize the ranks of labor to fight for substantial gains. It's time to put movement back into labor.
Hello. My name is Jenny Asnard, and I am running for the position of First Vice President at the Canadian Labour Congress. I am an advocate and an activist for human rights and the labor movement. I currently sit on the board of directors for the Professional Institute of the Public Service of Canada, as well as chair of the Human Rights and Diversity Committee. I spent considerable time in the political arena in my younger days. My motivation is the labor movement and how we can improve. We need to shake things up, people. We need to shake up the establishment. And I am here to advocate for those who lost their voice and for those who want and need representation. I am here to right the wrongs, and it's time to take action. I hold those in positions of power accountable. That's right. However, we, as one, must unite and mobilize. The Workers' Action Movement, WAM, strives to forge democratic union leadership to make a better world for the working class and humanity. WAM honors workers of color who fight systemic racism daily. Why hasn't the CLC heed the call of the multiracial North American working class that is crystallized in slogans? Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate. WAM stands for no concessions bargaining, for greater union democracy, and for mass job action to fight austerity. We want labor to lead struggles against systemic racism, for eco-socialism, and the need to defund the police. No more backhanded support for the Liberal Party. It's over. Let's commit to the labor-based NDP and fight within it for a workers' agenda. I, Jenny Esnard, vow to elevate our members and fight for equality.
My name is Sandra Griffith Bonaparte, and I am part of the Labour Forward campaign sponsored by the Workers' Action Movement for the position of Second Executive Vice President at the Canadian Labour Congress. I am the president of a large local union of national defense employees. As a Black worker, I have faced discrimination not only in the workplace, but in the union. However, this has not stopped me from fervently defending employees' rights in the workplace and advocating for human rights in the community. The unions have lost their way in fighting for the rights of workers. The union used to stand for equal work for equal pay of equal value. However, we have gone through numerous pay delays and major Phoenix scandal with the union. It is not easy to decipher who is the union and who is the management. That is why WAM is taking the lead in putting forward 3 candidates. WAM policy stands for Mass Job Action Against Concession Bargaining, two-tier wages, and employers' attack on workers' pension. WAM demands paid sick leave for all workers and vigorously opposes racism, sexism, and homophobia. My name is Sandra Griffith Bonaparte, and I am running for the Second Executive Vice President of the Canadian Labour Congress.